Everyone, and welcome. It's terrific to see all of you gathered here in this very special place, ready to launch a new academic year at Bates. I'm Garry Jenkins, my pronouns are he, him, and I'm the new president at Bates. Before I begin my formal remarks, I just want to say thanks to all of those who played a role in pulling this major event together. There are too many people, even too many departments to name, but we can still give them a huge round of applause and our thanks. So please join me. I'm thrilled to be with you for my first opening convocation, having been a member of this community for only slightly longer than the newest students and faculty among you. But in that time, I have received so many warm, open, and enthusiastic welcomes. So let me try to live up to that standard. First, welcome new members of the faculty. We are so pleased that you have joined us. I know that you'll be bringing your scholarly expertise, of course, but also your joy of teaching to our intellectual community and to the academic enterprise. Welcome to new staff colleagues all across this campus. All across this campus, you contribute mightily to Bates's mission in so many different ways, and I'm so glad that you all are here. And a huge, hearty, special welcome and congratulations to the class of 2027. I hope that you all have started to settle in, to make connections and learn a little bit more about what this place is all about. You will each make your mark here in your own way, and you will have one another and the rest of this community to support you as you explore and learn and grow over the next 4 years. We're here for you, and we know you're here for those around you. And then finally, welcome to all the returning members of the Bates community in the audience, our faculty, our staff, some of the students. We are thrilled that you are here, that you are back, and you are bringing the campus fully back to life. So this ceremony, our opening convocation, is of course the formal induction of the newest class of students into the Bates community. But let me give you an outline of our program today. I will offer a few words, and then the class will then be welcomed by your student government co-presidents, Rebecca Anderson and Dhruv Chandra. Rebecca is a senior biochemistry and mathematics major from Boone, North Carolina. She's a member of the cross-country and track and field teams and works at Post and Print and the Student Academic Support Center. Dhruv is a member of the class of 2025 and a major in economics and mathematics. He is from India. His other campus involvements include the Manic Optimist, Robinson Players, ASOP, and the Student Academic Support Center. Following their remarks, we'll have the convocation address delivered by Andrew Mountcastle, Associate Professor of Biology. The convocation speaker is chosen by the outgoing senior class as a gift to the incoming first-year class. And Professor Mountcastle was the choice of the class of 2023 for the class of 2027. He studies insect flight, looking at the connections among physiology, ecology, and evolution. In his lab, he works with students to, as he says, combine novel experimental techniques, comparative approaches, and computational modeling to answer fundamental questions about the design and performance of flying insects. He is a graduate of Bowdoin College and the University of Washington and has held research appointments and fellowships at the Lobster Conservancy, the University of Washington, and Harvard University. And then finally, at the end of the ceremony, Brittany Longsdorf, our multi-faith chaplain, will lead us in a benediction, after which we will march out as we marched in, led by the mace bearer and our faculty marshals. There will then be a brief tree planting ceremony near the class of 1927 mouthpiece, honoring those members of our community who have died during the past year. But before I turn the podium over to Rebecca and Dhruv and then Andrew, I'd like to say a few words to the entering class. I love that this ceremony takes place in the same spot every year. It's also the same spot where Bates holds its commencement each year. So it's here, at the heart of this beautiful campus, where generations of Batesies have come to both celebrate the start and the end of their studies. It reminds us of what a rich, rich legacy we are all a part of, one that is grounded in the liberal arts as a dynamic force for public good, in the affirmation of human potential and the power of embracing and celebrating our differences. That's grounded in the opportunity, in the value of open inquiry, of dialogue, in the power of ideas. That's grounded in seeing and growing and developing the whole person and all of our humanity, all of which is rooted in a powerful sense of place and being part of local, regional, and global ecosystems. And in this year, as we sit or stand in this place, it's our turn, our job, our commitment to carry those ideals and this institution into our lives and into the future. Class of 2027, you are a remarkably talented group, bringing experiences and accomplishments and ambitions from all across the globe to this little corner of Maine. I may be biased, but I think you have chosen brilliantly when it comes to the quality of your undergraduate education. Because first and foremost, you will be challenged here. Challenged to work hard in order to learn, grow, and stretch yourselves in our classrooms, studios, and labs. The Bates faculty who are gathered today in what I can tell you is very hot academic regalia. They are among the most distinguished teachers and teacher scholars in their fields. They have high expectations, but you will rise to meet them, learning so much along the way. And when you come back to this very site to receive your diploma, one of the things most of you will say is that during your years at Bates, you will have learned that you are capable of far more than you had before thought possible. And second, while so much has been accomplished at and because of this important institution, the best is truly yet to come. And I have faith in you, our newest class, and what you will achieve. You are here because you are meant to be here, each of you bringing something special and unique to the particular alchemy of this class and this moment in Bates's history. You are meant to be here, and we, Bates's exceptionally dedicated faculty and staff, are here, as I said up front, to help you explore all that your new home has to offer. We're here to support your academic work, your decision-making, your explorations into new subjects and ideas and ways of engaging with the wider world. So don't hesitate to ask questions or seek advice. That's what we're here for. In addition, I can assure you that the entire community is eager to know you as well, to really know you. It can be daunting, this plunge into newness, new home, new roommates, new choices, new freedoms. But remember, you're all in the same boat, 509 of you, swimming in the new. So take comfort in that. Also, I hope you'll believe me when I say that every set of first years from time immemorial has felt the same way. A bit of anxiety, a bit of excitement, scared about the new, excited about the new, but swimming in the new nonetheless. And by the way, I'm right there with you. I'm totally plunged into the newness of Bates. And because of that, I feel a special connection to the class of 2027. And you know what? We're all gonna be just fine. Let me tell you a couple strategies for success, and you can see if they will work for you. First, set expectations, but know that they won't always be met, and that's okay. This goes for expectations you set for yourself and those you have for others. Challenging yourself and aiming high are good things, but don't be unreasonable with yourself, and don't set yourself up for failure. Instead, find value in the effort, find meaning in the work. Valuing the effort and finding meaning in the work can apply to what you do in the classroom, or the lab, or the studio. It can equally apply to your pursuits, as of this is true in the Bates community, and I certainly see this all around. It's your pursuit as artists, your pursuit as athletes, your pursuit as volunteers in our local community, or any combination thereof. It's not just one or the other. You decide where the meaning lies and what expectations you have for yourself for finding it and fulfilling it. As long as you are putting in the effort and intention, you are succeeding. And as for having expectations of those around you, this can be dicey. Many sages have written on the folly of expecting anything from other people. But when you live in a community, as we do at Bates, there is a certain set of expectations that seem fair to me to maintain. We can pledge to be gracious to one another, and we can expect to be treated graciously. We can commit to kindness and expect others to hold the same commitment. We can act with respect for the dignity of humanity in every way that it manifests itself. And we can expect the same in return. This is true at Bates, and I see these values enacted around me each and every day. Remember that we are a community. One community of different people with different perspectives, but with the same love of learning, the love of Bates, and a desire to be happy and contribute in our own way. So please treat each other with kindness and a generous spirit. You can applaud for that. But also consider releasing yourself from what you know to be the expectations of what others have of you. You're starting a new chapter. Write it in your own terms. And if it helps, remember what the writer Joan Didion said: to free us from the expectations of others, to give us back to ourselves, there lies the great singular power of self-respect. One of the things that makes Bates Bates is that here you get to be who you want to be. Second piece of advice: be a learner and a leader. You're new here, I'm new here. We both have a lot to learn, a lot to take in, to observe, to synthesize, and assign meaning for ourselves. But we can't just be passive. We can't just consume. We need to be actively participating as well, even while we're learning, contributing, helping to shape this community of which we are now a part of, and finding out what roles we're going to play as leaders. For some, that's going to mean identifying an unmet need on our campus, or in Lewiston, or Auburn, and setting about finding ways to answer it. For others, it may be realizing that there's no club organized around a particular interest or hobby, and working to get one up and running. You might lead by jumping into a seminar conversation when your peers are quiet, or by stepping forward in some meaningful way on your team, or by spearheading some type of fun activity for your floor mates when everyone could use a break. It could mean asking a question that unlocks new ways of seeing things. All of those are acts of leadership, and they're welcome here. My third piece of advice is a related one. Find ways to be part of the solution. We are a community organized around the ideals laid out in our mission statement to educate the whole person through creative and rigorous scholarship in a collaborative residential community, and to engage the transformative power of our differences, cultivating intellectual discovery and informed civic action. But we are also part of a community of humans, which means that we are imperfect. We don't always achieve these ideals, but as a community, we work together to do better. Each of us must be engaged in the work and ambition for fuller realization of our goals. There's no us versus them at Bates. There's only us, and each of us is a part of the solution. So set expectations, but give yourself and others grace. Strive to be a leader and learner, and be part of the solution. I'm gonna follow that advice. I hope you will too. We'll check back in together, right back here in this very same place at your graduation in 2027, and we'll see how we did. For all of our students, I'm so excited for what's in store for you and all that you're gonna embark on. This will be an extraordinary intellectual and personal journey that will challenge you, that will change you. With a rigorous liberal arts education, you will find that you are poised to make a difference in our society, to work and contribute in all kinds of ways. And at the end of the day, your success is our success. On behalf of the entire college, welcome to Bates, and welcome to our community of learners. And as my mom would say, learn, care, share, and enjoy. Now, please join me in welcoming first your BCSG co-presidents, Rebecca and Drew, followed by Professor Andrew Mountcastle.
President Jenkins, members of the faculty and staff, and especially the class of 2027. Namaste, salam, and welcome. We're extremely grateful to be addressing you here and to be a part of this special day, welcoming a new class at the commencement of their Bates journey.
We are your student body co-presidents, and we are so excited to represent you this year and work to make your Bates experience the best it can be.
We are particularly grateful for getting to share this milestone with you as we remember being on the other side of this mic, sitting on your seats. It has been a long and challenging journey for you to get here, and naturally, you must be excited, eager, and even anxious about what is to come. But I would urge you to pause just for a moment and intentionally, consciously take it in. Celebrate this moment. Your arrival at this starting line is a testament to your dedication, resilience, and hard work. While the true significance of this moment might become more evident over time, there's a certain magic in grounding yourself here and now, in acknowledging the journey that lies ahead and cherishing the present as a cornerstone of all that is to follow. As your Bates story starts here, we would like to share a few learnings from previous chapters of our Bates stories as messengers of our own experience.
Talk to everyone. Introducing yourself to a classmate, talking to the next person in line for pad thai and commons, or saying hi to the people on your floor could be the start of a new friendship. If you're not from around New England, you might not know anyone's best friend from home's camp friend's sister. But I guarantee that after your first year at Bates, you will have a few of your own New England connections.
One thing I've learned is that there is nothing more important than being able to make conversation with anyone. From making these connections, you will soon realize that Bates is a community of collective support. You'll encounter dedicated educators who are also invested mentors, ready to guide you through both academic and personal pursuits. The liberal arts education aims to bring us closer to the humanness where we all intersect by making us critical thinkers who question the status quo and challenge the paradigm. We as students too aim to foster a spirit of collaboration and compassion for one another. Think back to your excitement holding the acceptance letter from Bates and imagining the next 4 years. Embrace it and create a culture where that collective excitement matters.
Many of you will find community in a sports team, club, or other group on campus. We encourage you to pursue these opportunities. Involvement in these groups is often one of the most fulfilling parts of the Bates experience. But one of my favorite aspects of Bates is the interconnectedness of the student body. Make it a priority to form relationships with people from all across campus. Our community is filled with brilliant, welcoming, interesting people who you may not get to know if you never branch out.
Try things that you couldn't before, just because you can. Don't be dismissive of new experiences that are accessible to you through Bates. Use Bates as a tool to better yourself, not just as a student, but as a person. I speak from personal experience as an international student when I say, hike a mountain, go rollerblading, take that interesting class that is outside your major, reach for beyond your comfort zone, and seek discomfort. You will not regret it. Embrace the opportunities that this vibrant community offers, for within them lies the potential for incredible personal and intellectual growth.
Embrace the campus culture of collaboration. You all worked hard to be here today and have your individual academic interests and strengths. This is an environment where you can raise questions, be curious, and confidently ask for help. Excitement to share something you have learned and willingness to help your peers will get you much farther than competing for first place. Now we would like to take a moment to thank all of the people who have facilitated your transition to Bates. Thank you to all of the Campus Life and Res Life staff, your Orientation Week leaders, the fall athletes who helped with move-in, and your ASOP leaders. We would also like to thank the many people working tirelessly behind the scenes, especially our amazing Commons and Facilities staff. In the next few months, you will likely have moments of doubt, high stress, homesickness, and adjustment. Hopefully these times will be coupled with joy, excitement, curiosity, and freedom. We hope each of you will find a home here at Bates. Welcome to your first year. We are so happy to have you.
Good morning. Welcome on this cool and crisp fall day in Maine. Don't worry, those days will arrive soon enough, and then they will continue to get cooler and crisper, but that's part of the adventure here. I want to thank you, President Jenkins, for your warm introduction, and welcome to you to your first of many convocations here. We are delighted to have you here. I want to also thank Rebecca and Dhruv for your wonderful greeting for us today. Rebecca and Dhruv, I have not had the opportunity of having either of you in any of my classes yet, but you still have time, my friends. You still have time. I also want to thank everyone who helped organize and carry out this large special event. One of the things you'll notice here is the tireless work performed by our amazing staff to support and facilitate our day-to-day activities, as well as numerous special events like this. In many ways, they are the absent presence of what we do here, and we're lucky to have them. Finally, I want to offer my sincere thanks to the class of 2023 for giving me the honor of speaking with you today and entrusting me with this joyful responsibility. When I was a college student many years ago, about your age, I attended an art exhibit featuring the work of senior thesis students. One of the exhibits consisted of 6 wooden chairs. They were simple ladder-back style chairs, and although they were a little on the small side, they were beautiful in their clean lines and skillfully constructed using traditional mortise and tenon joinery. It wasn't until I read the exhibit label that I learned how these chairs came to exist. As the label explained, the artist had started off by making 2 large chairs. Immediately after constructing those first 2 chairs, however, he completely disassembled them, cut down the wood into smaller dimensions, and proceeded to construct 4 new chairs using the same material. And then, immediately after making those 4 chairs, he once again disassembled them, cut down the wood yet again, and ultimately constructed the 6 chairs that were on display that day. This process took him the entire semester. In giving us the origin story of those chairs, the artist was inviting us to examine the importance of process in history. He was asking us to consider whether we valued those chairs differently in knowing how they came to be. I, however, found the exhibit deeply unsettling. All I can think of was that poor student who for weeks got up every morning with the knowledge that all the work he would do that day would be undone, erased, invisible. Every piece of wood he measured, every push of the hand plane, every tenon he shaped was in service to a creation that would immediately be taken apart before anyone else could even lay eyes on it. The existence of 6 beautiful handmade chairs would ultimately be reduced to just a few words on a label and nothing more. I could not fathom how someone could resolve to engage in such a futile process, much less to engage with it thoughtfully, carefully, faithfully. It was only after I became an educator that I finally began to appreciate that art exhibit from so long ago. In the heart of the Sierra Nevada mountain range is a massive granite monolith with a smooth vertical face that rises an unfathomable 3,200 feet off the ground, over half a mile nearly straight up. The Miwok, the first people who settled in the area centuries ago, called this formidable escarpment Tutakanula, after the inchworm, who according to their legend took an entire winter to climb up the rock face to its summit. You may know Tutakanula is El Capitan, the name later given to it by a California state militia who entered the Yosemite Valley in 1851 to forcibly relocate the indigenous population there. In more recent history, Tutakanula has become a world-famous destination for big wall climbing. And in June of 2017, only 6 years ago, a 31-year-old rock climber named Alex Honnold walked up to the base of this immense cliff with only a chalk bag hanging from his waist and proceeded to climb it alone, without any ropes or protective equipment, all the way to the summit. The New York Times would later describe Honnold's pioneering free solo ascent as one of the great athletic feats of any kind ever. And fortunately for us, his climb was captured in an Oscar-winning 2018 documentary titled Free Solo, which is a great documentary. I encourage you all to check it out. There's a brief scene in Free Solo where neuroscientists perform an fMRI scan of Honnold's brain and conclude that his amygdala, this is the area of the brain associated with emotional processing, responds differently to fear stimuli than most, leading viewers to come away thinking that Honnold must have been born with a unique brain that gives him a natural advantage as a free solo climber. Honnold would later say of this scene, quote, "I find it slightly irritating because I've spent 25 years conditioning myself to work in extreme conditions. So of course my brain is different, just as the brain of a monk who has spent years meditating or a taxi driver who has memorized all the streets of a city would be different." In reality, Honnold was afraid of El Cap for years. He would drive into Yosemite, look at the wall and think, no way, too scary. He trained himself mentally and physically by climbing that wall over 40 times with a rope before he was ready to free solo it. Honnold is right that humans have the ability to change our brain architecture, a phenomenon that scientists are just beginning to understand. Honnold's mention of taxi drivers might have been a nod to London cabbies, who famously have to undergo intensive multi-year training to memorize the twisted knot of streets throughout the city. Neuroscientists recently discovered that London taxi drivers actually have larger than average memory centers in their brains. And this is the important part. It was their intensive training that was responsible for this brain growth. Neither London taxi drivers nor Alex Honnold was born with an unusual brain. Instead, they changed the physical structure of their brains through a learning process, the same fundamental learning process by which you and I learn. Let's take a moment and appreciate just how profoundly liberating and empowering this knowledge is. Each and every one of us has a 3-pound bundle of nerves between our ears that we are free to mold however we like. We all have the potential to excel at math, or learn Chinese, or understand Kantian deontology. But here's the rub. To realize this incredible potential, we have to put in the work. When you learn something new, brain cells that we call neurons immediately pass electrical signals along new routes in your brain. This part happens right away. But it takes time and repetition for these new electrical pathways to affect changes in the physical structure of cells and their connections in your brain, the kind of structural remodeling that is necessary for intellectual development. And even beyond time and effort, there's one more thing we must accept. Learning is not a steady, linear progression. It's disorderly and tumultuous. When we're learning, we regularly take in information that doesn't make sense to us right away, or that we don't know how to integrate with our existing models of understanding, or that we flat out misunderstand at first. As a result, the physical structure of our brain is in fact continuously changing, rebuilding, remodeling, as we work towards increasing our proficiency over time. It turns out that learning at the cellular level is a lot like building temporary chairs. Lots and lots of temporary chairs. And yet we get up every morning and walk into the classroom or the lab or the studio with courageous optimism that the work we do that day will matter, will hold value eventually. What will be the value of your Bates education? The learning you do here will not be in memorizing city streets or tackling big wall climbs. At least I think it won't. Perhaps one of my colleagues has a plan for a short-term course that I'm not aware of. But instead you will learn how to ask questions, how to construct arguments, how to develop and test theories. You will learn how to critique and how to create. You will learn how to learn. What is the value of this type of brain development? That's up to you and how you use it. What I can tell you is that your learning experience here will consist of many fun and rewarding moments, even thrilling moments of discovery. But there will also be moments when you will feel frustrated and adrift as you struggle to decipher an impenetrable text, or solve a tricky physics problem, or write a challenging paper. You may even have moments when it feels like everyone else is getting it except you. And you may wonder whether you belong here at Bates. When you experience difficult moments like these in your intellectual journey here, I want you to remember 3 important things. Number 1, you're doing it right. Growing your brain is hard work, and it's normal to experience rough patches. Which leads me to number 2. Number 2, you are not alone. You see all these folks in the front rows with their colored robes? We are quite literally here for you. All of the amazing professional staff in the Ladd Library, and the Office of Intercultural Education, and the Office of Accessible Education and Student Support and Counseling and Psychological Services are here for you. We all came to Bates for the primary purpose of guiding and supporting you in your intellectual and personal growth. Don't hesitate to seek help. Ask questions in class. Come visit us during office hours. Take advantage of the resources that you have here. You are not a bother to us. You are a joy. Number 3, every single one of you belongs here. You are not only at Bates, you are Bates. As you sit here today and consider how you would like to define your time at Bates, I invite you to embrace the process of learning in all of its messy imperfection. It's tempting to think of your course products, your exams, your final papers, your performance in portfolios, as the focal points of your academic journey. But the real magic resides in the process, the moments when flickering electrical signals pioneer new routes through the twisted knot of cells in your brain in service to the realization of your potential. On behalf of all of my colleagues, we can't wait to meet you, to work with you, and to learn from you during your time here. Welcome to Bates.
Hello, I'm Brittany, and it's my joy to welcome you in a form of blessing. So please close your eyes or get into a relaxed posture, whatever is most at home for you. Holy One, sacred many, let us all settle in for a last moment of pause in this joyful threshold. The rains of this past Maine summer have led us to the cusp of this hot day and a brilliantly colorful fall to come. We anticipate with readiness what is next. We close our eyes and can imagine the vibrantly colored canopy that will soon be above us on the quad, the cozy late-night talks over tea on a dorm room bed, the frosted athletic field where play is both fierce and jubilant, the buzzing classroom full of brilliance, challenge, and wonder, the happy accidents and endearing awkwardness that lead to deep new friendships. As we stand at the beginning of this new year, may we hold on tightly to the hope that runs through these imaginings. The future feels bright, and we can add to the shine. May we spin our curiosity into a web of new experiences, knowing the tendrils of connection will show us who we want to be. May we allow joy and wonder to be our guide when we don't know what is next, trusting our own strengths and each other's warmth in the in-between space. May we rely on a compass of compassion in each new relationship, seeing each other as whole and beautiful and interwoven. May we soak up with sweet slowness all this vibrance that awaits for us. And may each amber and crimson colored leaf that drifts down upon the quad onto our heads in the months ahead remind us of the imagination and hope we hold in this threshold today. May it be so. Amen. Welcome to Bates.